Plus, we'll hear from Mike Tyson, who's just hours away from his return to the ring.
I'm very interested right now in just cultivating my skills. I don't care if people say fight this guy, fight this guy. The main objective is to be the champ and the best fighter in the world.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Deerdorf in Las Vegas. Welcome to ABC's Wide World of Sports. Today, all eyes of the sporting world are focused right here on the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino, where in just a few hours, Iron Mike Tyson is going to make his highly anticipated return to the ring when he takes on Peter McNeeley. We're going to have a lot more on that later in our show.
Will he be the same fighter? Will he still strike fear into the hearts of his opponents? Will he be the Mike Tyson of old, or will he be better? The return of Mike Tyson. Tyson versus McNeeley, Saturday, August 19th, live on pay-per-view. It's the boxing event of the year. Call your cable company. You've waited 4 years for this. The fighter of the decade. The boxing event of the year. On August 19th, guess who's back? The return of Mike Tyson. Tyson versus McNeeley, Saturday, August 19th, live on pay-per-view. It's the boxing event of the year. Call your cable company.
And a reminder, everybody, that the reason we're here in Las Vegas is because later tonight, Iron Mike Tyson steps into this ring just about 5 hours from now to attempt his comeback to retake the heavyweight title. An interview with Tyson right after this. Welcome back to ringside here in Las Vegas. Alex, over the years that we've been doing boxing together, we've had the chance to talk to Mike Tyson before. We've had him at ringside. We've had him at our ABC studios in New York. We've covered some of his fights, and you've known him for a long, long time. Now, since he's been out of prison, his interviews have been, I think, very few and far between. How'd you snag the guy, first of all?
Well, we asked him to do an interview, and he was nice enough to show up and do it.
Which, you have to admit, it's rare.
He hasn't done a lot.
No.
It was interesting. We talked a little bit about a number of things, as you can imagine. I found him to be quite calm. He seemed to be more at peace with himself going into the getting ready for fight week. He did not have his game face on. He talked openly, and it was an interesting afternoon.
Was he by himself, or was there an entourage involved?
There was the minimum entourage. There was two co-managers, John Horn and Rory Holloway, and Don King, his promoter.
Well, as you can imagine, the fight world is abuzz about what's going to happen later tonight. This interview took place 9 days ago, and it took place right here in the MGM Grand upstairs in Mike Tyson's room.
Mike, first talk about what it was like the first time you got back in the ring to box. What did you expect, and what did it turn out to be like?
Well, you know, first I thought I was going to do very well because I was doing my road work and I was hitting the bag pretty well and I was doing great floor work. But once I got in the ring, of course, it was different. You know, it was a different outcome because I believe it has different muscles, and besides that, it's a different sight when you're boxing in the ring and then when you're doing a floor exercise. But, you know, I went through a week of disastrous sparring. After that, basically all came together.
You're a student of boxing history. Some people think that Ali lost to Frazier because he came back too soon, came back too quickly after that longer layoff. Do you take any lesson from Ali's experience? How many tune-ups do you think you'll need before you're ready to fight for the title?
Well, I'm just going to listen to my trainers and my managers, and I'm going to go gradually. I'm no fool, you know what I mean? Like you said, I've learned from the past, and I'm not interested in just jumping in there for the big cookies. I don't care if people say fight this guy, fight this guy. The main objective is to be the champ and the best fighter in the world. In order for me to do that, I have to do it on my time basis.
People sort of take it for granted that you're going to be champion again. Is that a danger? That
I don't take anything for granted.
Do you think you're going to be champion again?
Oh, I know that, but I just don't take it for granted. I know no one's going to give me anything.
There were times in your life when you were out of control and you were pursuing.
You know what I mean?
Do you think you're more in control right now, Mike?
More or less, yes, I'm in control. But you have to understand the state that I was in. I was living a profligate lifestyle because you have to understand I was just a child, and you know what I mean. I've been successful as a fighter ever since I was a teenager, young kid. I've always been successful.
Do you think becoming the youngest heavyweight champion of all time actually was a bad thing? It was just too much too soon, too much pressure?
I think, you know, I think basically, I think that's phenomenal. I think that's a was a great accomplishment in the history of sports. I just took it for granted. I never really thought about it since I've been away. I never really knew, being 29, I never really knew how young 20 is. 20 is an extremely young boy.
Mike Tyson, the 29-year-old man, talking to Mike Tyson, 20-year-old boy or kid, or what advice do you have for that person? What advice do you have for somebody who's about to enter into the kind of life that you dealt with?
Yes, always remember to take people who are good to you and keep them close to you and don't let them go. Very difficult to keep good people that truly care. You know what I mean? A lot of times we get caught into the hogwash that goes on in our life, and we give them the Buddhas. We do things to them they can never forgive. And out of their dignity of being a man or a woman, they can never come back to us. But what we did was not necessarily out of hatefulness or something, but it was just totally out of ignorance. I believe we're more responsible now. You know what I mean? It's very difficult being responsible after living like I said before, a very profligated type of lifestyle, reckless, and it's very difficult. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's an ongoing process in trying to do the right thing. You know what I mean? You can't take a guy and put him that's been living a certain way for the rest of his life and say, for 3 years you studied living this way, and you all of a sudden you got to make a transformation and to live in the right way. It's very difficult. It can be done, but it's very difficult, and I'm having a difficult time, but it's going to be done.
Well, Mike Tyson talks about transformations. Obviously, Alex, those happen in his personal life, and everybody deserves a second chance, and we hope Mike makes the most of his out of the ring. Everybody wants to know about in the ring here tonight. First of all, 4 years, a long time to be away from the ring.
Yeah, and a different kind of layoff than Muhammad Ali. We compared Muhammad Ali's comeback to Mike's in that interview. But Muhammad Ali was able to spar. He had exhibitions. He could go into a gym. Mike Tyson had none of those. There was none of those facilities in the prison in which he was, and he really starts cold. And you heard him talk about having 1 week of horrific sparring, and he was shocked about it. And I think that it's hard for people to understand this because Peter McNeeley is a very, very lowly regarded opponent. But I guarantee you Mike Tyson is nervous about this fight tonight. He very much wants to look good, and he wants to prove himself.
For all that hard exterior that he shows the world, he couldn't be human and not be nervous about tonight. Now, you mentioned Peter McNeeley. If he is as inept as everyone leads us to believe that he is, does Mike Tyson learn anything? Does he accomplish anything?
Doesn't learn anything. I just think he takes the first step in a process that will lead a year or a year and a half down the road to fighting meaningful opposition. He's not going to do it right away. He actually, you could hear, I think, in his voice in that talking about Ali, he was not going to make the same kind of mistake Ali made. He thinks Ali lost his title by jumping back in too quick against Frazier, and he's not going to make that same mistake. I think he's going to take his time.
Well, there is nothing quite like a Tyson fight and a Tyson happening. This town is busting at the seams. Celebrities of galore here tonight. Going to be fun.
It will be.
However long it lasts.